Wow, folks, this is it. This is the final episode of the entire series of The Walking Dead World Beyond. I can't believe we got to this point. And it's kind of bittersweet. You know, you never think about, you know, when the show officially ends on its own terms, what is that feeling? You know, what is it going to be like? You know, what story would they have told? How much would you have grown with these characters? And getting to this point is kind of, like I said, it's bittersweet. But yeah, this is the season finale, series finale, which means this is it. Which means that in this episode, you knew there was going to be a lot of tying up the bow, a lot of final stuff happening, and indeed it delivered. Man, there is a lot of bloodshed, there's a lot of choices made, and there is lives lost. And I gotta say, before I go any bit further, this without a doubt is the best episode from The Walking Dead World Beyond. It's not even close. This episode is fantastic, and it's definitely it's second to none. It's absolutely its best episode. And also, there is a end credit scene that is mind-blowing. The ramifications of what this end credit scene means is so much. It's so much I can say that I won't, because I want you to see it, but it's just the ideas and the possibilities going forward is limitless. And I will say that for the characters that have survived, I'm curious to know when do we see them again? Because I have grown to liking them over the years, and now I'm like, I don't want them to go. I want to see them grow. I want to see them mature. I want to see them meet other members of the Walking Dead universe. Crossovers and all that other stuff. I'm looking forward to that, but when and how? Maybe the movies, maybe the Rick movie, I don't know. But as of right now, that I don't know. But I do know personally, I do want to see them show up in some other show, series, movie, whatever it may be. But I really can't believe it's over. And yeah, I just, the mid-credit scene, the implications, the futures, and all of that, it's just whew. But this episode goes back to the beginning, which is very fitting. It's almost like poetic, because they go back to Monument Day, where they all met up in that room, where they were just like, hey, if we go beyond this door, this is it. There's no turning back. And that's when we saw the 4 kids really become family, and that's when they hit the road. The journey of being on the road, you know. But going into the real time, obviously the still plan is to stop the gas, to blow the gas before it ever gets to Portland. They need to protect Portland, and that's Iris' sole goal. And even though she's still battling, the grieving of Percy, her and Silas have some really good moments, but you just see her really blossom into this really mature individual from that innocent, kind of naive person that she started off the show with. So like, her character arc has been truly special, but I think this episode really solidified as to who she will become and who she will be and who she has become over this time. So going forward, again, I'm very interested in seeing like more of her. But the kids, most of the time, they kind of avoided, the empties. But like, even in this episode, we seen them battling in small herds, which they have no clue what's out there. But like, they took their little sample dose and they were quickly exhausted. But like, hey, they're fighting now, because I was very critical about them not fighting at all. I think their kill count collectively has to be somewhere around like 7. And then we all know, because of everybody escaping CRM, that you had people broken up into different groups. And the scientists was the other group that we really didn't know where they went. But there's a little bit of indication as to where they possibly may have went and how and whatnot. But, you'll see. Also, another interesting story arc is Silas. I think that, his growth in itself is a story to talk about. Because in this episode, he has to make some difficult decisions. Many of them at that, and just seeing him mature is just something special, because he was kind of a loose cannon or maybe misunderstood at the time, but like, seeing him now more determined, more focused, is like, it's been pretty special. But since this is the final episode, you knew we were going to get some final bouts, and sure enough, we did. I don't know which one I want to talk about first, but Huck and Jadis was, oh my God, like times 100. That was something. And Felix and Frank was freaking dope. I mean, wow. But I'm gonna say, everyone's not making it out of these final bouts. So like, you can pick your choices now. But it got crazy. And then obviously too, when you talk about Huck and Dennis, her husband, they talked about their final mission, and that was their mission to CR, because they had to exploit to CR what CRM was actually doing, because they wasn't aware. And that also may mean their mother may not be fully aware either, because Jadis obviously has her own intentions, and she's kind of like weaving through everything her own way. So like, she's exploiting people, exploiting things, and whether it's righteous or not, like, she's just going about it the way she does. We know how she is, and that still doesn't mean that CR is fully on board or fully aware of what CRM is doing. And that's their plan, is to make sure that CR is fully aware of that. This episode, coincidentally, everyone runs out of ammo. I should just mention that. There is a Rick mention, because we got to talk about Rick, and it of course comes from Jadis, where she talks about she had an A but said it was a B, and the reason why she did that, because she didn't want that person to end up on Elizabeth's lap like a lap dog. Which, then there's a mention of somebody named Bill. Who is Bill? Who must be somebody of some significance in the CR, because when the name Bill got wrong, everybody was like, Bill, so. But yeah, and then there's more battles too. Jadis and Elizabeth is also a battle that happens, and there's a bunch of different things going on here. And I have to say that someone gets the Aaron treatment, if you know what I'm talking about. So like, it's all sorts of different things happening in this episode. It's an emotional roller coaster. If you've been investing into this series, you've been investing into these characters, you will absolutely be emotionally devastated. And even though, if you've been watching my reviews, there's particular characters that I haven't been fond of, there is still a sense of just in some of these moments, because it gets crazy, it gets intense, it gets emotional, and then overall, I can't wait to see where some of these characters may pop up again. And then, as I said, the mid-credit scene is just ludicrous. It's ludicrous. I can't say anything because I want you to enjoy it, but you have to really pay attention to the thing. I was about to use a word that would have gave it away, but you really have to pay attention to the things that are happening, and like the styling of how these things are happening, and should I say like the speed and how some of these things are happening, because like, and although this location of where this mid-credit scene is happening isn't essentially where everybody's at now, you can tell by dialect and everything that it's not where they've been at this entire time. I don't think that particularly matters. I think it just gives an indication as to one thing. It gives an indication to someone's journey, and it also gives an indication of like research, and it also gives an indication as to like the possibilities of how crazy things gonna get going forward for every Walking Dead show. So folks, I don't know what else to say. I want to know your thoughts about this entire series, this limited series of The Walking Dead World Beyond. Jump in the comments, give me all you got. This is the last episode, so spill it all out, folks. And we'll still be around for Fear, and then when Walking Dead returns, we'll obviously be around for that. But I hope you've been enjoying my spoiler-free Walking Dead World Beyond reviews, and can't wait to talk more Walking Dead very soon.
I